Just a quick charge on your card, Dad texted casually. 10 hours later, my business account was emptied, $15,800 completely gone. Mom laughed. Family tax. I forwarded one email without emotion. At 7 a.m. Dad's lawyer called, screaming, "The IRS received documentation." The text came through at 11 in the morning while I was reviewing quarterly reports for my bookkeeping business. I'd spent the last 4 years building sterling accounting solutions from a spare-bedroom operation into a legitimate firm with 23 steady clients and 3 part-time contractors. The work was steady, profitable, and entirely mine. Dad's messages were always the same, casual and expectant, as if my money were simply an extension of his own wallet. No greeting, no consideration of whether I might be busy, or whether my business funds were earmarked for actual expenses. Need to cover some vendor invoices. Just use your card. We'll pay you back Friday. I stared at the screen for a long moment, my cursor hovering over a spreadsheet showing client billing cycles. This wasn't new. For 3 years since I'd started my accounting firm, Dad had treated my business account like his personal line of credit. Started small the first time, maybe 6 months after I'd incorporated. He called it an emergency, said his supplier wouldn't deliver without immediate payment, promised he'd reimburse me within days. That first charge was $300. He paid it back 3 weeks later. Then it was $500. Then $800. Small charges at first, scattered enough that I told myself it wasn't a pattern. 100 here, 200 there. Always with promises of quick repayment that materialized maybe half the time. The unpaid amounts accumulated in a mental ledger I kept but tried not to examine too closely, because examining it meant acknowledging what was really happening. I texted back, "How much?" "Maybe 2,000. 3 tops." That should have been my first warning. Maybe, and tops in the same sentence from Dad meant the number would be higher. But I was busy, distracted by client deadlines, and I made the mistake I'd made dozens of times before. I gave him the account number. By 9 that evening, my phone started buzzing with bank alerts. The first charge was $2,400 at a commercial supplier. Then $3,200 at another. Then $1,800. Then charges I didn't recognize, vendors I'd never heard of, amounts that kept climbing. I watched in real time as my business operating account drained like someone had pulled a plug. Called Dad. It went to voicemail. I called again. Same thing. By 10 o'clock, the account showed $247 remaining from the $16,000 I'd had that morning. $15,800. Gone. My payroll was due in 4 days. I had client payments to process, business insurance coming out automatically, vendor invoices of my own that would bounce if this wasn't resolved. Called Mom. "Oh honey, your father mentioned he needed to use your card. It's family, right? What's yours is ours." She sounded completely unconcerned, like I was overreacting to something trivial. "He took almost $16,000, Mom. That's not a quick charge. That's my entire operating budget." "Well, he's building up the business. You know how these things work. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money." She paused and I heard Dad's voice in the background. "Your father says he'll settle up with you at the end of the quarter. Family tax, sweetie. We all pitch in. Family tax." Like my business was communal property. Like the 3 years I'd spent building my client base, the certification exams I'd passed, the 18-hour days I'd worked meant nothing compared to their sense of entitlement. "I need that money back now. I have payroll. You're young, you'll figure it out. Talk to you later, honey." She hung up. I sat in my home office looking at the bank statement on my screen and felt something shift inside me. Not anger exactly. Anger would have been messy, emotional, the kind of reaction that led to shouting matches and slammed doors. This was colder, more calculated, the same mindset I used when reconciling complicated business accounts for clients. I'd been documenting everything for 18 months, ever since my business attorney, James Rodriguez, casually mentioned during a consultation that I should keep records of any unusual account activity. We'd been discussing liability insurance, going over standard protections a small accounting firm needed, when he'd noticed some irregular transactions on the business statement I'd provided. "These charges," he'd said, pointing to a cluster of vendor payments that didn't match my usual expenses. "Are these yours?" "My father's. He needed to use the account temporarily." James leaned back in his chair, choosing his words carefully. Family members using business accounts can create tax complications. The IRS doesn't distinguish between generous lending and unreported income. If your father is using your business to pay his vendors, that could be classified as income to him. Unreported income. I'd stared at him, the implications clicking into place. But he pays me back. Usually. Usually isn't always. And even when he does pay you back, the transactions create a paper trail that looks questionable. My advice: keep detailed records. Every charge, every communication, every promise of repayment. If this ever becomes a problem, you'll want documentation showing exactly what happened and when. I'd taken his advice seriously, perhaps more seriously than even James intended. Every text message saved and backed up to cloud storage. Every charge documented in a separate spreadsheet with dates, amounts, and notes about Dad's promises of repayment. Every phone conversation logged with timestamps and summaries of what was discussed. I had 18 months of data showing a clear, undeniable pattern of what could easily be classified as unauthorized use of business funds, unreported income on Dad's side, and potential tax fraud. I opened my encrypted files and pulled up the documentation. 47 separate incidents. Nearly $89,000 in total charges. Repayment rate: approximately 32%. And even those repayments had stopped 6 months ago. Then I opened my email and drafted a message to James Rodriguez. It was short, professional, and attached a comprehensive PDF I'd prepared months ago but never sent. The documentation was meticulous. Bank statements, text message screenshots, a detailed ledger showing every charge against every promise, and a legal memo I'd written outlining the tax implications. I copied the IRS Fraud Reporting Division on the email. I hit send at 10:47 p.m. and then closed my laptop. The next morning I woke at 6 and went for a run. The physical activity helped me think clearly, process what I'd done, and prepare for what was coming. By the time I got home, showered, and made coffee, my phone was already ringing. 6:58 a.m. Unknown number. I answered. "This is Robert Morrison, legal counsel for Thomas and Patricia Whitmore." The voice was tight, strained, professionally controlled, but barely. A good lawyer trying to maintain composure while delivering catastrophic news to his clients. "Did you file a fraud report with the Internal Revenue Service regarding your father?" "Good morning, Mr. Morrison. Yes, I provided documentation to the IRS regarding unreported income and unauthorized business account access. Is there something I can help you with?" "Help with?" His voice pitched higher, the professional veneer cracking. "Do you have any idea what you've done? The IRS has frozen your father's business accounts pending investigation. They've requested 7 years of tax returns. 7 years. They've assigned a criminal investigation division agent to the case. They're treating this as potential criminal fraud, not just civil penalties." I sipped my coffee, looking out at my small backyard where the morning light was just touching the fence line. The day felt ordinary, peaceful even, which seemed strange given the conversation I was having. The documentation I provided covers 18 months of activity. If they're requesting 7 years, that suggests they found additional concerns beyond what I reported. Your father could face federal charges. Prison time. Do you understand that? Federal prison, not some minimal security situation. And the fines and penalties could exceed $500,000 when you factor in back taxes, interest, and fraud penalties. I understand that taking $15,800 from someone's business account without permission is theft, Mr. Morrison. I understand that using someone else's business as an unreported income source is tax fraud. I understand that I've been covering for this behavior for 3 years because they're family, and that ended last night when my mother called it family tax, and laughed. There was a long silence. I could hear paper rustling, voices in the background speaking in urgent, hushed tones. Someone, probably Dad, saying something sharp that I couldn't quite make out. "Your mother is very upset." "I imagine she is. They want to know what it will take to make this go away." "It's not my investigation to drop, Mr. Morrison. I simply provided factual documentation to the appropriate authorities. What the IRS does with that information is their decision, not mine. There has to be something. The money needs to be returned to my business account by the end of business today. All $15,800, plus the $73,200 in outstanding charges from the previous 18 months. That's $89,000 total, and I want it in certified funds. He made a choking sound. $89,000? That's impossible. Your father doesn't have that kind of liquid capital. Then he shouldn't have spent it. I set down my coffee cup. The IRS doesn't care about his liquidity problems, Mr. Morrison. Neither do I at this point. My business has been used as an unauthorized line of credit while my parents treated me like a personal ATM and called it family tax. That ends now. This is extortion. No, this is accounting. Every dollar is documented. Every charge has a corresponding text message or phone call where my father promised repayment. I'm a certified public accountant, Mr. Morrison. Documentation is literally what I do for a living. Another long pause. I need to consult with my clients. You do that. I have work to do. I hung up and blocked the number. Then I called my own attorney. James, it's done. I sent everything to the IRS last night. How bad is it? He sounded concerned but not surprised. We discussed this possibility 3 months ago, when Dad had taken another $8,000 and Mom had laughed it off. $89,000 in documented unreported income, potential fraud charges, and from what his lawyer just told me, the IRS is already moving. They've frozen his business accounts. James was quiet for a moment. You know this is going to destroy your relationship with your parents. They destroyed it when they emptied my business account and called it family tax. I'm just filing the paperwork. Fair enough. What do you need from me? Make sure everything I filed is bulletproof. If this goes to court, I want every document, every text message, every bank statement admissible and unassailable. Already done. I reviewed everything before you sent it. You're clean. Your documentation is textbook. Actually, it's better than textbook. You could teach a class on evidence preservation. 3 years of watching family steal from you makes you careful. My phone buzzed with another call. Mom's number. I declined it. It rang again immediately. Declined again. Then a text appeared. How could you do this to your father? To our family? We raised you better than this. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say that wouldn't devolve into circular arguments about entitlement and obligation. Instead, I opened my laptop and started working on actual client business. The kind that paid my bills and didn't involve family members treating my accounts like public resources. At 10:30 a.m. my bank notification pinged. Wire transfer incoming. $89,000 from Thomas Whitmore. The memo line read, loan repayment. I immediately called James. They paid. All of it. Every dollar. Called it a loan repayment. Smart. Trying to reframe it for the IRS. Won't work though. Your documentation clearly shows these weren't loans. They were unauthorized charges. And even if they were loans, they'd still be unreported income on his taxes. What happens now? Now the IRS does their investigation. With the repayment, they might reduce criminal exposure, but the tax liability remains. He'll owe taxes on $89,000 in unreported income, plus penalties plus interest. You're looking at probably $35,000 to $45,000 in total tax consequences, and that's if they're generous. And if they're not generous? Audit of his business, potential fraud charges, possible criminal prosecution. The fact that he paid it all back this morning actually makes it worse in some ways. It proves he had access to the money all along, which undermines any claim of financial hardship. At 2:15 p.m. Dad called. I stared at the screen for a long moment before answering. You got your money. His voice was flat, defeated. Nothing like the casual confidence from yesterday's text message. I did. The IRS is still investigating. Morrison says this could cost me everything. The business, the house, possibly criminal charges. You stole from my business account, Dad. Repeatedly. For 3 years. What did you think would happen? I thought you'd understand. I thought family meant something. Family does mean something. It means you don't steal $89,000 from your daughter's business and laugh about it. It means you don't call theft family tax and expect her to smile while you destroy what she built. I gave you opportunities. I connected you with clients when you were starting out. You introduced me to 3 people. 1 became a client. I built everything else myself while you drained my accounts and took credit for my success. Silence stretched between us. I could hear him breathing, processing the reality that this wasn't going away, that the daughter he'd dismissed as a convenient source of funds had just ended his financial comfort. Your mother wants nothing to do with you. I'm sure she doesn't. Neither do I. You're not welcome at family events anymore. Holidays, birthdays, nothing. Understood. That's it? Just understood. What else is there to say, Dad? You made your choice when you emptied my account. I made mine when I documented it. We're done here. I hung up and sat very still in my office. The silence felt clean, somehow final. 3 years of anxiety about checking my bank balance. 3 years of explaining to vendors why payments were late. 3 years of covering for family members who saw my success as their entitlement. All of it over. My phone buzzed one more time. A text from my younger brother who'd stayed mostly out of the family drama. Mom and Dad are losing it. What happened? I typed back. They took $89,000 from my business. Called it family tax. I called it fraud and documented everything for the IRS. Don't use me as a bank. We're good. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, fair enough. Want to get coffee sometime? Yeah. I'd like that. I closed my laptop and looked out the window. My business account was whole again. My documentation was with federal authorities. My family relationships were fractured, probably permanently. And for the first time in 3 years I felt like I could breathe.